welcome back to another episode of the Good Enough Gaming Podcast. My name is Kyle. I'm joined by these three monkeys.
Hello.
Trevor, Daryl, Jordan. This week's episode is entitled, What Could Go Woo Wrong? That's right, it's Bull King season, you guys. So let's get to training and figure out if we are the destined one, or just the old monkey that's past his prime. We like to think that we still have the fortitude, just like one of the year's hottest RPGs that took on a classic myth and gave it a playable reality that many, many gamers loved. Of course, we're talking about Black Myth Wukong, and the tale that has had a massive influence on some of our other beloved franchise anime characters. You guys, maybe not me. So dodge all your other responsibilities. Get ready to battle with our opinions and insights into this game and the shape of solo RPGs in the future.
Let's go.
So, this game exploded overnight, especially because it was massively hyped in China.
Yeah, so I think the first
tell us why, Jordan. Why was it so hype?
I think the first trailer they released was right at the height of COVID. I think it was 2020. When they first, and it was just a shadow drop trailer, brand new studio out of China, nobody had ever heard of. And the thing that caught everybody's attention back then was, holy fuck, did it look good?
Yeah, it looked amazing.
That was my first red flag. That was my first.
This looks too good.
I don't trust it.
You show me some really good. I will tell. Jordan will admit, I was so skeptical of this game, up until I saw people play it, because we didn't see very much gameplay. The trailers looked way too fucking good.
Yeah,
the Concord, the Godfall effect of it all. Look at the shiny trailer, but what's the gameplay like? Don't worry about it. Just look.
Just look at this. Just look over here.
It's the Ubisoft Watch Dogs effect. It's ooh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Look how cool this game is.
Yeah.
But how do you play it? Doesn't matter.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I appreciate that the first few trailers were purely just about trying to showcase the crazy characters and the story, because anybody outside of China and most Asian countries,
Dragon Ball Z fans,
Dragon Ball Z fans, you have no idea who Wukong is, or the story Journey to the West.
Son Goku.
Yeah, exactly. But it hurts. On that note, it hurts my soul that everybody's oh wow, did they use Goku as inspiration for this character?
No. Goku is derived.
Have you
from
ever heard of this band called the Beatles, Dad? It's so cool. Fuck.
This is Gen Z discovering
Nirvana.
older bands.
Yeah, you're just oh god.
Well, they wear all the t-shirts. They still sell them at the clothing stores. This metallic brand is so nice.
Wu-Tang, they're going to be so big.
Yeah. Oh God.
Okay, one more on that.
God,
do you remember when, sorry, this is super off topic, but it's okay. Do you remember when Paul McCartney did a song with Kanye and all the Gen Z was oh my God, this Paul McCartney guy is going to blow up because he did a song with Kanye?
She has blown up. People have died.
Sorry, Jordan. Back to Wukong.
It's fine. Honestly, this game makes me want to read Journey to the West, because the story is fascinating, and there's so many crazy and quirky characters, and if you have any familiarity with that story, you'll have such a larger appreciation for the game, because I think the attention to detail, some of the characters that they have included, it hits a lot of the notes there. But I'll admit, for me, I've never read it. I am only very surface level knowledge of Wukong. A lot of the characters I was well, he's cool as shit. but I don't really know what he means to like the the overarching narrative there.
Because this is all based in like Chinese mythology, right? And like all the boss fights and stuff too are all like mythological creatures.
Yeah. So basically the game starts with you as like prime Wukong, for lack of a better term. Like you have all of your abilities. You are the strongest,
Super
being
Saiyan
out there, basically. Yeah. And it starts with this big, over the top fight scene, and you end up being defeated. And Wukong gets sealed up inside of a rock, and then it's generations of his bloodline and lineage that keep coming of age, and they're trying to find essentially the pieces of Wukong's armor and weapons that still have a piece of his essence inside of them. Cool. And you're trying to unlock his abilities, basically. So like the game starts off kind of confusing, and then after a little bit you realize that you're not even Wukong in the story. Like you're just
Jesus Christ.
It's so funny. This trope, I don't know why, as soon as Jordan started talking about this, it just reminded me of the trope of every single Need for Speed game where they give you like the ballin' car and then you get set up and caught by the cops, and then you go to jail for a while, and then you come back with, the Miata.
Like
that. I was going to say, driving a Civic.
Here's your Volkswagen Golf.
Except in this situation, not only do you get the shitty car, but your character that went to jail also got shanked and is dead.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
And his kid's kid is the one that's.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I saw a lot of people when this game came out, they were comparing it to like God of War, and
Souls-like.
Yeah, that was the one that bothered me the most, was like, oh, this is like Elden Ring meets Dark Souls.
It's just a third-person combat game.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, like, honestly, besides the really tough boss fights and activating shrines in certain areas, like, that's basically where the comparisons to the Souls genre ends. There really isn't even that big of an influence on when you die, you lose all of your like skill points. Like
that to me is the most Souls. That is the most Souls-like of.
Yeah.
Like that's the basis of Souls-like.
Yeah.
Having checkpoints and wacky bosses is not a Souls-like mechanic.
No.
But he drinks from a flask.
Fucking every game has since 1995.
Yeah, everybody's got a health med kit or something.
I'm out of mana.
That's how some people still get through their day. Okay, that's just
hey,
it's true. But yeah,
no. Why we started having these meetings?
If anybody grew up playing Ninja Gaiden or like Devil May Cry in the PS3 days,
that's why this spoke to you so much.
100%. To me, this game is more like Ninja Gaiden on the PS3 than anything else. Super fast, fluid movement, really cool weapons and abilities. But bosses are hard as fuck, just like the Ninja Gaiden game. Bosses are challenging.
Which is fine.
Which is why they're bosses.
But like in this game, because the visuals are so good, it's just fun to see all of these crazy bosses doing, all of these different abilities. Some of the fights and the cutscenes turn into like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon type shit where they're like flying all across the map. And
yeah, you sent us I remember getting a couple of videos from you where you're like flying all over the place. I think I saw one clip, like spoilies, where like you're in a boss fight, and if you go to drink your flask, the boss like freezes time or something and comes and takes it from your hand and drinks it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's the creativity. Like that's fucking awesome.
That's cool.
Like the first time you see that, it's like, wait, what's happening? Like that's a next level, like flop it on the table kind of deal, you know?
It's like we know exactly what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
This is like that comparison makes me think of the weirdest comparison to this would be like Little Nightmares, where you're like, you do something and you fuck up, right? You do something, it kills you. And then they know that you've learned that does that thing. So you go to avoid it the next time and you avoid it into a trap that then fucks you up again. You're like, it's like, you bastards, you got me. You got me so good.
You sons of bitches.
Yeah.
Yeah. This game does a really good job for how difficult it can be at times. It does the perfect thing that I know Daryl loves. And it's the power fantasy of giving you all of these abilities and like these crazy strong attacks that can absolutely demolish like even elite level enemies on the map if you time things right. And if you build up certain combos and meters, it's like you can one-shot certain guys and it feels so good doing it.
Got to build up that key. Got to build up that key power.
That's right.
But like the really
10 times 10. Let's go.
The really cool thing with this game is a lot of there's like you got your story bosses, then you've got secret bosses, and then you have like elite henchman bosses, and
like a mini boss kind of thing.
Yeah, like a mini boss. And the mini boss ones are cool because a lot of the time when you beat them, you'll actually unlock their essence. And you can equip it. And so when that special meter builds and you activate it, you'll actually, you'll like shapeshift into that thing. And then you'll be able to do a lot of the same attack mechanics that he did. And you've got like your own separate health bar that's dedicated towards that character for the duration that you're doing it. And there's upwards of, I think, 30 or 40 of these things that you can find out there. And so like, it's just, it's such a cool, like, hey, you want to try something new? Here's this gigantic list of bosses that you can shapeshift into. And it's, it totally mixes up gameplay. There's also certain bosses that are weak against like certain essence. So,
cool.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, okay, this guy's got a crazy powerful attack. If I shapeshift into this boss and use his special ability, it'll the fuck is the word I'm trying to look for? It'll stagger. Negate or stagger the boss mid attack.
Oh, and shit.
So you'll be able to actually get in there and like do high damage, but you have to time it right. So there was a lot of really cool things like that separate it from like the Soul series or Ninja Gaiden, God of War. Like they're like, yeah, you know what? Wukong is the strongest fucking mythological character in Chinese mythology. Yeah, we're going to lean into that. Like,
yeah, why not?
Good.
We're not going to shy away from the fact that he can shapeshift. He can like travel through time. He can fucking self-heal. He can, like if you actually pull up a stat, like a stat sheet of Wukong, and all of the things he could do in the mythology, it's extensive.
Pretty vast.
Like, it's crazy. Yeah.
Which fits so well for a video game. Like, let's be serious.
Yeah.
There's a character made to be in a video game. Like, like at this day and age, like
self-healing. Yeah. Like every healing mechanic in every game ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a question though. What is the combat like in relation either to like a God of War or a Souls? Like, is it a, light attack, heavy attack? Is it a
combo system?
Like
button complex mash?
Yeah.
So it's kind of all of those things, but in different percentages. Like it's it does get a little button mashy at times. I've heard some people say that they find the bow staff attacks to be too weak, and it just feels like you're kind of hitting nothing over and over, and it doesn't seem to be doing too much.
Beating a dead horse.
Yeah. But really what they're aiming you to do is, so like on PlayStation, square is your normal attack with the staff. And then you've got this little, you've got these little dots on the UI off to the side. And the more attacks that you do consecutively, you build up these dots. And when they finally activate in light, I think you start with two, but then by the end of the game through the skill tree, you can upgrade, I think, to have as many as like 5 or something like that.
More dots.
More dots.
More dots. Okay, stop dots.
But the whole idea behind it is based on the stance that you're using. You can start with normal attacks, and then based on where you hit triangle in the combo, it'll use a number of those dots to do like a heavy attack.
Oh.
But you can't spam the heavy attacks. You have to build up this meter to be able to use them.
Gotcha. So then does it have a stance system similar to like Sekiro or Ghost of Tsushima, where if X enemy is coming at me and he's a big armored guy versus a little guy, I have to be in the correct stance?
No, so the stance, the stance is really just play style preference.
Okay.
Like there's one where your heavy attack is like a lunge, but because you have a bow staff, and of course Wukong can also extend his bow staff at will, it turns your heavy attack into a reach of like 30 feet.
Oh shit. Okay.
Think of the sails.
Just got to get him amped up enough.
But then one of the other stances is like part attack, part dodge. So if you press it, he'll climb to the tip of his staff, and any attacks that come through, he'll dodge those. And then he'll do like a flip off the top of his bow staff and slam it onto the ground.
Yoshimitsu style.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. So you could essentially leave it as one if, say, you're like, I'm only good at this stance. Yeah. But if you are like the elite gamer, you could essentially switch those throughout combat to maximize damage. Cool.
And honestly, cool. I'm sure there are certain bosses that are weaker against specific stances. I never got that deep into it, honestly. Like to me, for at least for my play style, the lunge bow staff heavy was by far and away so OP, because it staggers most enemies too. So if you're low on health and you want to try and get some distance, or if you want to stagger a heavy that's gonna, like, he's building up to charge at you, like this lunge attack to me was just so OP that I played that stance probably 90% of my playthrough.
Okay.
So, but
he played with insistence.
Oof.
Not your best, Kyle. Not your best.
No, I know. I'm sorry.
We expect more.
Yeah. I know.
But
I apologize.
One of the complaints that I've seen that I can kind of understand, especially in the first few hours, is a lot of people were like, "Oh, well, this game's shit. It's just a boss rush game," and it's like, okay, you haven't played more than 5 hours of the game. Because like the first biome that you travel through, yeah, you know what? There is a stretch where like within a 2-hour gap, you probably do fight 5 bosses.
No,
that's super cool though.
Yeah, right.
I think so too. And some of the areas are branching pathways like a Souls game, but they don't have some of them don't have a ton of just like mob enemies just roaming around. And so it really gives you a chance to actually explore and like find secrets in hidden areas. And
is it fairly linear, or like, is it?
I would say so. There's like 6 biomes or 6 worlds that you go to, or 6 regions, I guess. I would say 4 out of the 6 are pretty explorable. There's a snowy mountain one that's fucking gigantic. I spent a ton of time on that level because there's so many secret areas and hidden spots you can jump to. And I found like an underground cave that's hidden behind a waterfall and stuff.
Classic.
So like there's a lot of that stuff, but then I think 2 of the levels are definitely more linear, or they're just more vertical. You might be exploring like one of the levels, you wake up in a prison, but the prison is like a Surlac pit dungeon. Where you're just 500 feet below ground, and you have to, and it's a circle.
You merely adopted the dock. I was molded by it.
So like that one, you're just going level by level, trying to escape the prison. So that one feels pretty linear, but then a lot of the other ones, there's a lot of exploration to do. I do appreciate too that when you find a secret, if you fast travel away from that new area on the menu, it'll actually tell you that that's a secret area.
Oh, that's
nice. You missed something.
It just makes it so much nicer. It's like, oh, okay, if it's a secret, like if I don't really want to explore and just play the main story, it's like, well, I can skip this whole area.
Yeah. Do you get the opposite where like, if you go through this door, you can't go back, and you're like, oh, okay, this is the story. I'm going to go do some other stuff for a little bit.
Yeah. So speaking of doing some other stuff for a little bit, I think I love hearing Jordan talk, especially passionately about a game that he enjoys. Funny enough, he's shaking his head no, but he's on a fucking podcast with over 100 episodes. So,
let's go.
Whatever. After that little bit there, I think it's time we throw another quarter in the Good Enough Jukebox.
Can you get anything with a quarter?
I don't know. I don't think so anymore.
I think it's like $1. Yeah, it's like
toonies.
Inflation.
Good enough.
Jukebox.
This week we're gonna Fonzie the jukebox.
Oh yeah,
freedom for the jukebox. If you are new here, the jukebox is a segment where I talk about gaming music. So if you want to take a game on the go, the Game Boy doesn't exist anymore. You want to get those game vibes on the go. We talk about some of the more interesting and unique game soundtracks that are out there, or just nerdy soundtracks if you want to get technical.
Chunky and brutal.
So this week, almost wanted to talk about the game that Jordan brought up on the Treasure Trove last week. That was actually on my list for this week.
Neva.
But this week, I'm actually going to talk about a game called A Hat in Time. So if anyone hasn't played this game, it should be on your Steam library since we all share it. It is a sort of a level-based, it's more of an indie game, kind of a classic style game. I would almost call it like a Mario-esque game. You're going through levels, you're challenging bosses, you're doing these little things, you're exploring, but you're this girl who's, I can't remember if she's a witch or not, but she gets power-ups from the various hats that she wears. So you have to unlock these hats and they give you skills.
God, Daryl, could you imagine if that happened to you?
Yeah.
That collection?
Hey, I'm just saying.
Speaking of skill trees.
Yeah. I got enough hats already for that problem to be
a problem.
So just to break it down, so it's Michael Stifel. is the guy who did the soundtrack for this.
Cool.
Kind of like a fun RPG soundtrack with like a lot of like, I want to say like pan flute, just like a lot of like fluty sounds in the back. So think like old school Zelda, think like Ocarina of Time.
Oh, sick.
Kind of like really good exploration type music.
Yeah.
And it's just upbeat. The whole game it's super goofy. Like it definitely doesn't take itself seriously. So I would recommend the game as well, but the soundtrack for it is very, very good.
Sick.
It's called A Hat in Time. You'll be able to recognize it. It's a girl with like a big purple top hat on. Can't miss
There we go.
You had me sold at pan flute.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
I knew I would.
The Mad Hatter.
Thanks, Trev. There's one thing I can always look forward to, and that's the just absolutely out of nowhere soundtracks that you come up with. So appreciate
Pulled that one out of the hat, hey?
Daryl wins today, I think. Daryl's on the ball today.
He's been in fine form lately.
That's right.
Coaching season's coming to an end. Daryl's just getting more and more energy.
He's back. So, bringing it back to Jordan, I know you've talked about a lot of the things that you loved about this game. As is tradition, let me hear those gripes.
Tell me what you hate.
Let's poo on the game.
Let the hate flow through you.
Honestly, the worst part of the game is the technical side of it. I played at launch. I played on PlayStation. Funny enough, Xbox ran the game the best because it didn't even get the game on Xbox. So, but PC and PlayStation had huge issues. I ran into a lot of frame rate hiccups and glitches along the way. I mean, most of it wasn't enough to like deter from the experience or like fuck me up on a boss fight or anything like that. But there was just very noticeable spots, especially as it opens up into larger areas. You're like, ooh, this is struggling to make this thing function.
Optimization.
Yeah. So, and I've heard in the last couple months it has gotten better. But it is a graphically intensive game. I think even on PC, if you had like the top of the line graphics card and you're trying to run it at ultra settings, it's still going to be a hard game to run in certain situations. So that was my biggest issue. The game crashed on me once as well, which was frustrating. I lost some progress there, which was unfortunate. But other than that, honestly, I think the final biome is the worst one. And it's basically near the end of the game, which kind of sucks because everything else is so fucking good leading up to that. And it's super disappointing because the final biome is where you get the Nimbus cloud.
Yeah.
And so you can fly around the map. And so like, I understand from a design perspective, it's the largest map. They had to completely open it up and, increase the verticality like crazy because you're going to be exploring it mostly with the cloud.
Nimbus.
You're going to be flying around. But it makes most of it super uninteresting. There's not a lot of like hidden secrets or hidden areas to explore. And, oh, you drop down here and holy fuck, there's a brand new area that you couldn't see before. And
just
so like
for the sake of big.
Exactly. Yeah. Like they basically just added in quadrants to the map, and each quadrant had like a big boss that you had to kill in order to progress the story.
Yep.
But beyond that,
Typical.
by that point in the game, I was like, I'm not going to explore any of this. Like, just tell me who I need to kill. I'll go kill those guys and let's just move on to the next part. So the pacing there seemed very odd because the pacing throughout, the first 80% of the game was just so fucking good. They almost should have put the Nimbus level in the middle.
Right.
And,
but is it is it avoiding having the Nimbus for these other areas? Like, is that the whole point?
Yeah, like from a story point, again, the whole idea is as you progress and you're collecting these pieces of Wukong and you're absorbing his essence, you're becoming more like Wukong. Yeah. And that comes with all of his abilities, including the Nimbus Cloud. So like from a narrative standpoint, it makes sense. Just unfortunately, from a gameplay perspective, it detracts from a lot of what makes the game interesting.
Until the DLC.
Oh god.
Yeah. So they've already talked about that, but
you fight Frieza.
A strange green alien comes to Earth.
Perfect Cell. Oh shit.
Oh my god.
But yeah, no, honestly, I don't have a lot of complaints. It was a very good game. I enjoyed a lot of it. The character design, I didn't really touch much on this, but like the character design and the boss variety is top tier. It's one of the best games in recent memory in terms of like throwing completely unique enemies and unique bosses at you with mechanics and attacks and even just like cinematic moments that you do not expect. Like one of the middle biomes is you're exploring this underground cave system and you end up fighting this gigantic spider. And it's a crazy cool boss fight. And there's a couple different like sequences to it. But when you beat her, her like spider minions decide to break out of their eggs and come after you. And so it's like you finish the boss fight, and usually in a Souls game, that's when your heart rate drops and you take a breath. And you're like, oh, okay, I can relax. No, you turn around and there is a tidal wave of spiders that start chasing. Yeah. It starts chasing you out of the level. And so you have this like the camera is facing behind you and you're running at the camera with the
Crash
spider.
Bandicoot chase scene.
Yes. So it's just like really unique things like that a lot of action RPGs like don't have moments like that in a lot of the time. And then the Tiger Vanguard, if anybody Googles Tiger Vanguard for clips, he's basically the tiger character in Kung Fu Panda.
Oh.
But way more menacing and scary looking, and his battle arena is just like a puddle of blood.
All right.
And so it's just like, it's super Mortal Kombat to me. But a bunch of people had a bitch of a time trying to beat the Tiger Vanguard. There's actually
Scars and Stripes.
That guy's badass. Yeah. That is a badass character design.
And there's a variant of him later in the game that's a secret boss, and he's even harder.
All right.
Which secret bosses should be?
Yes.
100%. Yeah.
Is he Siberian?
Maybe. And then the other cool thing, typical Chinese mythology is dragons. And we know that there are some dragon fans in this group.
This guy.
And so there's basically a group of hidden bosses that are all dragons. And you get some crazy cool stuff if you beat them.
Did you get the Dragon Balls?
That would be sweet.
Is there 7 of them?
There's not.
Oh no, damn.
There should be, because that's a missed opportunity, honestly.
Just a bunch of dragon testicles. Just
say 3 dragons and 1 Lance Armstrong dragon, and you got
We're good.
This one just came back from a bike race.
Yeah, there you go.
He's been tested for anti-doping, but
Dragon's cheating.
Yeah.
I want to see a dragon ride a bike. How would that look? Would it be a long bike or just like
a bicycle made for four, like in Beer Fest?
No,
Yeah,
Like a quadruple tandem bike, but just one dragon on the
or would it be like a really tall bike, like big front wheel?
I think it would be, this is a throwback for our listeners. I think it would just be Trogdor. It would just be an S-shaped dragon on a bicycle.
This feels like the argument, how would a giraffe wear a necktie? Is it up here at the top of the neck or is it at the bottom?
Is it at the bottom?
Or
It's got to be at the end of the
How
neck.
does the dog wear pants?
Yeah. Have you seen the giraffe centaur argument? How would the giraffe centaur look? Would the arms be up by its head, or would it be the head and then arms down by the body?
Oh God.
How the fuck did we get here?
Good enough gaming. Ask important questions.
Don't ask questions you don't want answers to.
That's fine.
Just embrace the madness.
We went from fighting dragons to Dragon Balls to dragons riding a bike to
Trogdor the Eliminator.
to Trogdor to
And this is how Imagine Dragons became a band.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
true story.
True
We've got the
story.
royalties
Happened to a friend
for
of a friend of a friend of mine.
Oh my god!
Well, to bring us back,
Thanks, Jordan.
you're welcome. This game feels like the old Redwall series. You guys ever read those Redwall?
Trevor was all about
I
that
read
shit.
the fuck out of those books.
I love
all
those
about that
books,
shit.
man. But like the Redwall series, every character was an animal, and that's what this is. There's only a handful of human characters throughout the story.
I'm surprised there's any actually.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, everything else is animal based, but it makes it super fucking cool, and it just makes it unique. It separates itself from a lot of the other games in this genre. But
Suck it, Pickens. We like animal-based products, okay?
One of the human characters, though, that went viral for a little bit is the headless monk. And he shows up in, I think, chapter 2. You finish chapter 1 thinking that you died. And then you wake up, you died in a forest, and you wake up in a desert area. And all of a sudden you look up and there's this headless monk just standing there over top of you with like a little banjo guitar thing.
I thought you were going to say staring at you. I was like, how?
How?
Yeah. I mean, his orientation is faced your way, so I assume he's staring at you.
Yes.
But he shows up randomly throughout the story, and all he's there to do is narrate what's happening, but by song. And so he plays.
I've heard his songs are wicked.
They're catchy as fuck, dude.
How does he sing? He's got no head.
I was going to ask the same thing.
No idea, but apparently he's in the Journey to the West story. But his music is catchy as fuck. It's all in Chinese, so you don't understand any of it.
Oh, perfect.
But
Subtitles?
yeah, basically it's all just narrating this. It's almost like an old spaghetti Western where like, your character's walking through the desert and you've got this like narrator just making it epic as you go through.
That reminds me of the band following Sir Robin in Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yes.
Brave, 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 brave Sir Robin. Shut up.
Brave Sir Robin ran away. No! Bravely ran away, away.
I didn't.
When danger reared its ugly head, he bravely turned his tail.
No!
Yet brave Sir Robin turned about.
I didn't.
Gallantly he chickened out. Bravely taking
I
to
never
his
did.
He beat a very brave retreat.
Oh, lie.
Bravest of the brave Sir Robin.
I never.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, it's a game I definitely recommend you check out if you're a fan of God of War, Ninja Gaiden, Devil May Cry, Stellar Blade that came out earlier this year.
That's a good one. Yeah.
You're not going to have any bouncing boobies or anything to look at, but you know, monkey.
1 out of
stuff,
10.
I guess.
1 out of 10. No, on that note, Jordan, what would you score this game out of 10? Give us a score.
If I'm just scoring like the story and the gameplay and the mechanics and shit, it's a 9 out of 10 for sure. I wish the story was a little bit longer, just so that they could introduce these characters in more depth. Like I would say that's the one thing that separates this from the last 2 God of War games, is like those, they throw a ton of characters at you, but they do a very good job narratively to make you learn about them and care about them, understand their motivations and why they're there. This game doesn't really do that. This game assumes you know the Journey to the West story. Like you've got some base knowledge about that story to begin with.
Got to do some pre-reading before you play the game.
Yeah. So
Journey to the library. Let's go.
So yeah, like honestly, if you do understand that story and you have read it, you'll probably enjoy this game even more than I did, because you'll see certain characters pop up in, video game form that you're like, holy fuck, that is so cool to see him in the flesh. But that's a roundabout way for me to say my overall score is an 8.5. It's the technical issues I ran into that drops it a little bit for me.
That's fair.
Yeah, and like I was playing in performance mode, and I was still running into a lot of frame rate issues.
More like lack of performance mode.
Yeah, I could still get my bow staff to extend, so not too much of a performance issue. But yeah, no, honestly, I'm curious to see where the DLC goes. There's already rumors of the character that they're going to introduce in either the DLC or the sequel. It kind of sounds like the Wukong franchise, if this does become a franchise. It sounds like it's going to kind of turn into an anthology game series.
Okay, cool.
So you're going to play a completely new character within that mythologic universe every time.
Cool.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, they've got a lot of content to draw off of, right? So,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty broad.
And it did pretty well from what I remember.
I think it sold like 2 million copies in 24 hours or something along those lines.
Yeah.
It was actually allowed in China, wasn't it? Like it was,
It was developed there, so I think they had to go through all of that process because it makes no sense.
There were companies in China that gave their staff the day off when the game released because they wanted people to play it.
As of September 5th, it sold about 18 million copies.
Not
Good
bad.
for them. Wow. First game. Good job.
That's basically a month after release because it came out, I think, second week of August.
It was like mid-August, right?
Oh, there's some more stats here. I could read forever, but
I was just looking. There have been some updates. So if you're still debating or you're on the fence or you're looking for that holiday game, I think they've fixed it for the most part.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of content. There is a secret ending as well. If you find certain bosses and defeat certain bosses, it'll open up a completely different ending. And spoiler alert, one of the coolest fucking things is the end boss in the game is the dark essence of Wukong.
Oh,
you end up fighting the evil version of yourself.
To fight Dark Link.
Yeah. But like he's got the holy shit scale of abilities. So some of the stuff that he can do in that fight, you're like, holy fuck, this is insane.
That's
like
cool.
Why can't I do that?
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
very, very cool.
Like kind of last question wrapping up, roughly how long did it take you to beat the game? Just as a general
I also had that question.
Value for money kind of proposition.
It's a good question. It's been a while since I've looked at it, but I probably finished at about 30 hours.
Okay,
so it's not long.
that's pretty solid.
But
Daryl's been playing too many JRPGs lately.
Yeah.
30 hours.
That's
that's
not
too short. Yeah,
That's the
That's
intro.
short.
That's an intro.
I didn't find all the secret bosses. I just found the ones that gave me the best gear and the best abilities. And then I was like, I don't care about the other ones.
Just min max that shit.
Yeah. And then I didn't get the secret ending because by that point I was tired with the technical issues I was running into.
Fair enough.
So honestly, this is a game I could see myself going back to if they fixed all of that to try and platinum it, because it is very platinable. It is very, very doable.
Oh, you're speaking my language now.
Yeah. And honestly, like, I know Trevor and Daryl, especially you guys, you love a good boss fight.
Yeah.
And so you've played all the Souls games.
That's true.
Yeah, it's also spiked a few controllers in the process.
Haven't we all?
Yeah, we've all been.
No. I'm in control of my rage.
Oh, please, you are
get
not.
out of here, you
You are not.
But yeah, if you enjoy boss fights,
You get frustrated at fucking cutscenes with dialogue. Like,
and then 5
Yeah, but I
hours,
don't throw a controller.
and then
Well,
five
throw a
hours
tantrum.
later, 5 hours later, I'm bored. This game sucks. I don't know what's going on. Well,
Fuck
yeah, you skipped all the
I
fucking
don't
dialogue.
do that shit.
Yes, you do.
When have I ever been like, I'm bored with this game?
I mean, probably 80% of the games you play after
No, give me an
5
example,
to 10
fucker.
hours. Well, I mean, you told me you were bored with Black Ops last night, so that's
Okay, zombies. Okay, zombies is fucking boring. Is dumb, and I hate it. I hate zombies. It's not fun. It's not fun for me. It's boring. It's like, oh, run around in the circle, shoot zombies.
well,
there you have it, folks.
Maxing
Prove my
field
point.
experience, Kyle. Which is so weird
I
coming
love
from
you,
the guy that loves zombies. Like not Call of Duty
It's
zombies,
different.
but zombies.
Yes, I love zombie shit.
Yeah.
I have a zombie hand tattooed on me.
Yeah, you do.
yes, you
It's
do.
fucking dope.
Oh, man.
How did we get here? Anyways, Jordan, do you have any final thoughts, or can I wrap this shit up before you just start saying false
This episode
things
is
about me?
going woo long.
Kyle's done with the slander.
Yeah. No, I think I hit most of the notes, unless anybody else has questions.
If you have more questions for Jordan, mention it on Instagram or email us or Discord, because we're on all that
Everything.
shit. Everything. All the time. The
This-
Discord group chat is perpetual.
The last thing I'll say is this is one of those games like Death Stranding that I know nobody in this group will ever play, but I hope to God one of you fucking does, because I want to talk about it. So Death Stranding is on there, and I think Wukong is going to be on that list too. I'll be shocked if any of you play it.
Somebody get on Discord and talk to Jordan about Wukong, please.
I would give it a go. I just want to wait for it to
I was
go on
like-
sale, I think.
And me
But
too.
would
I was
play
like,
it.
I feel like down the line, I'm going to play this.
You've sold. You've done a good job selling today, Jordan.
That's what I'm here for.
You said platinumable. I was in.
And only 30 hours, Daryl. You don't have to
Yeah,
spend
no, that sounds
100.
great.
It's like a
Yeah.
weekend for you.
Yeah, I know. That sounds awesome.
All right, Kyle, wrap us up.
All right. From all of us at Good Enough Gaming, thank you for enjoying this Wulong episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share our videos, get us out there. We like talking about shit, and we want to do it more. And we like more people listening to us because it makes us feel good inside. And not like a Humpty Dumpty looking ass. With my McDonald's hairline. In other news, fuck high school kids. Cut that shit out. Oh, shit. I think that's good enough.
It's good enough.
Good enough.
It's good enough.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for more content. We also invite you to write an email or join us on Discord to talk about anything from our episodes or something else you would like to discuss in the future. Please subscribe to the Good Enough Gaming Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you listen to your podcasts. And remember, we might not be great, but we are good enough.